All right, welcome, 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 welcome in. I see that there are 15 people already waiting, so I'm going to let you all come in. We do have Chris on the line who's going to be giving us his perspective. He's going to be giving us the perspective from a man's point of view who says that there's a lot deeper than many of us know. Listen, I am Tonya TKO. I'm your host. I'm a certified clinical hypnotherapist and a life coach from TonyaTko.com. I wrote the book of affirmations, self-love, and this book helps you reattune yourself for self-love, especially since we're talking about people not really having the guidance to be able to get them to where it is that they need to be viable human beings who are contributors to their society and living in their best fullest life. So welcome back to the broadcast. This is my book. It's available on Amazon right now. The links are below. And thank you to the people who have sent the Cash Apps and the PayPals through. Thank you, Jamaica Hayes. I'll give you another thank you when everybody comes back in. The numbers are jumping up. When you come in, give the thumbs up, and we're going to jump right into the topic. Our last broadcast, we were talking about cuties. We were talking about the movie with the young girls who were out there twerking and dancing and carrying on. It's a coming of age film with young girls who are trying to make sense of their lives and where they fit in it, where the feminine fits in today's society. So we do have a young man on the line by the name of Chris, and Chris says that it's a lot deeper than we have been diving into. So Chris, what's your thoughts on everything that we've been talking about?
Well, I do think, and I do agree with you that kids are socialized at a young age to pretty much seek the things that they seek and the things that they value.
Mm-hmm.
And so the last conversation that you mentioned, you talked about, the girl being protected and men saying, oh, well, if it's not my wife or girlfriend or sister, I'm not going to protect her.
Right.
Which, I do feel that's problematic. However, that comes from the same socialization that you were speaking of. It comes from the socialization in the classroom early on to put boys and girls against each other in competition as far as who gets the best grades, who's going to be the valedictorian, who's going to sit here, who's going to sit there. So boys and girls there's not a feminine, masculine role, adolescent role that they have. They actually view each other as competitors. So a boy is not going to look at a girl that he does not know as someone to help out, just like a girl is not going to look at a guy that she does not know as someone to help out in a dire situation. Now, one thing that in my life, I actually had the opportunity to help women on the street that I did not know. And one thing that was very amazing to me when I told other women about these situations that actually put my life in danger, all the women who I talked to said, you know what, you should have mind your own business because you do not know what happened in that particular situation to bring those two people there. And I had to sit back and think about that. I said, well, I am putting myself in danger. So why should I? And then people say, you could get yourself killed in going into domestic violence situations. And every woman that I talked to said,
before we went to the break, you were talking about boys losing their virginity to girls who are 2 or 3 years older than them. So let's talk about society as a whole, because when we start getting into anecdotal evidence is not evidence. So let's jump.
Okay, so let's go to that though. Yeah. Okay, so there's a competition you mentioned that, but okay, so yeah, most boys are losing their virginity to girls. They're not losing their virginity to the girls their same age. Most boys are losing, if 12 years old, that girl that they're sleeping with is 15 or 16, 17. If they're 16, that girl will look older. They don't start losing their virginity to people the same age until they get later in the teen years. But most boys actually do lose their virginity to older girls. And what happens, and this is true too, a lot of younger girls, they look up to those older guys, and those older guys are too far advanced for them. High school is a terrible place. You have a 14-year-old person with a 17, 18-year-old person. It's a terrible place to have hormones going haywire and people in be such close proximity. That pretty much where we are. And that is a problem. That is a huge problem. I went to an all-boys school, and I transferred to a co-ed school, it was a total different animal. Those girls, it was girls at my school who had grown men coming to pick them up from school. Grown men. And they wasn't even looking for the boys their age, you know? And so, but this is the thing. That also shows the boys, okay, I can't deal with the girls my age. I'm going to look for girls younger than me. And so it's a slippery slope that we are pretty much thrust into, because look, our parents are working all the time. They're not teaching us anything. All the parents are scared to have the conversation about sex. So we just left out here to pretty much stand for ourselves and make mistakes. And hopefully most people make mistakes. They don't get pregnant or STDs. If they do get an STD, they go into the clinic unbeknownst to their parents to get cleansed up. So this thing is a little.
So let's dive into some things, and then we'll circle back around, right?
Okay.
So in high school, grown men picking up high school girls is, how do we put this? These are pedophiles? I mean, if these are grown men coming to an area where the girls are 14 to 17, these are predators. These are predators. These are predators
Exactly.
who have souped up these girls' minds into thinking that they're young but ready.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So listen, hold
on.
Hold on. That's my statement. Let's circle back around.
Yeah.
Let's circle back around to, so boys and girls are pit against one another by the teachers in terms of who's going to get better grades. That part I didn't really understand how that related to sex and sexuality.
Because this is the thing. It creates competition with each other. It creates competition.
The teachers are creating competition.
Say it again. The grades create competition.
The teachers are creating competition between the students.
No, not the teachers. Just the environment of how the classroom is set up. It's them saying it. Well, at least in the schools I went to, very competitive schools. So if I'm trying to get an A or a B or a C out of the class, and then someone else is trying to get an A or a B or a C out of the class, and happens to be a girl, I'm not looking at her as a feminine person. I'm looking at her as a competitor, just like she's looking at me as a competitor. So it's not that feminine thing and masculine thing is gone out the window at that point from 8, 9, and 10.
How does this relate? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. 8, 9, and 10. Ain't nobody thinking about sex. So you're not a sexual being.
The competition, though. The competition, right? We're not thinking. Well, actually, kids do think about sex at that age, but the competition is there at that age. So if I'm looking at as a girl, only thing she is a girl, but I'm competing with her. We playing against each other. It's no boundaries. There's no boundaries. So then once I started getting hormones, and we started getting hormones with about natural hormones, it's a competition. It's not it's no nurturing, and we're friends and intimate. It's a whole competition to see, can I sleep with you?
So you're saying because, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to understand. You're saying because in the schools, because the kids are competing for grades, then the moment that the boys' balls start fibrillating, then all of a sudden they're like, let me F your daughter and toss her aside because she's my competitor.
No, not that boy, the older boy. You remember, like I said, this is deep. The older boys are now. The older boy is looking at her as someone to misuse.
Because she got better grades than him when she was 9. So because she got better grades when she was 9, now all of a sudden he's like, I'm going to use my dick as a weapon.
No, I think you're not relating the entire thing. You're not relating what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that you talked about socialization earlier, as far as when a girl is 2 and 3 years old getting dolls and kitchenette sets.
Yes.
That is to socialize her for a period when she gets older.
Right.
Okay, that's what you said. I brought it back to a young age with a competition between boys. So the example you used was the kitchenette and becoming mothers.
Okay.
The example I'm using is the competitive between the sexes at such a young age. There's no boundaries. And then when they become older, it's about competition.
Okay. So boys who get better grades, then they're like, I'm gonna fuck you in your ass because you got better grades than me. We're competitors.
No, not at all. What I'm saying is that no, you like I said, you don't understand. And now I'm gonna screw your ass and put my dick in. What they saying is that they do want to screw you. So your feelings as far as this is your words. You said that girls are looking to a husband material, or whatever you said, like the husband material, right? They look for a husband material. The boy is not looking for that. So it's a competition. He's saying, okay, you're looking for a husband material. I'm not looking for that. So that's where the competition starts. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because I'm just using your example.
Okay. No, listen, thank you so much. So one other thing. So let's do our survey. Let's jump into a quick survey. This is a new broadcast, so we're gonna do a new survey. Let's do number 1 first. If you were on the last broadcast and came over here, put up a number 1. I want to see the people who came over. I want to see that. And then we're going to talk about older boys, and we're going to talk about boys and older girls, right? Is it a reality that, welcome in from the other broadcast. So older boys, so boys with older girls, we're going to do 2 and 3, right? So 2 and 3. If you believe that most boys, if you know for a fact, if you have example of a majority of boys that you know losing their virginity to older girls, right? Put up the number 2. If you are not sure of that, or you don't know, or you don't think that's the case, put up the number 3. I want to see. So older girls, yes. You're not sure, or let's say younger girls is 3. So, okay. So I say it's about half and half.
Mm-hmm.
So we're getting 2s, and we're getting, it looks like the 3s are starting to win. So what do we say about this? What's going on out there?
That's what I'm saying. It seems like you're trying to make fun of me when I kind of broke it down early on how this starts early, but this is a real thing out here, that boys don't look at girls as someone to treasure and cherish because it's always a competition, and that starts early on. That's pretty much what I'm saying.
I'm sorry, we're conflating 2 different issues, right?
No, it's the same issue. It's the same issue.
We're conflating 2 different issues. One, we're talking about, so how does older girls, if the girls are getting better grades than them, that means that they're in the same grade as the girl. So where are the older girls now coming in? These are 2 different issues.
Right. Now, I didn't say that the boys was losing their virginity to the girls in their classroom.
Right, but you said that they're in the classroom where the girls are getting better grades. If they're not getting better grades in the classroom, then they're in a different class. They're older. So this is what I'm saying. These are 2 different issues that we're conflating.
No, it's the same issue. The reason why it's the same issue is because they're in the same schools.
So you're saying somebody else, so you're saying somebody else in a different class is now your competitor?
Someone else, what I'm saying is, this is what I'm saying. The competition, the girls that they interact with most are in their class. So that's how they interact with each other, because the girls are in their class, right? But the girls and that's where the competition, but the girls that they are losing their virginity to are older girls.
So these are 2 different issues. Because these are not girls in their class.
Okay, so the reason why it's the same issue is because when those boys become older, okay, when those boys become older, they are going to look at the younger girls and deal with those girls as raw meat. Because
the older girls or the younger girls?
Say it again.
The older girls or the younger girls? Who's the raw meat?
The raw meat is going to be the younger girls. When these boys that's 14, okay, become 17, they gonna look at the younger girls that's 14 as raw meat.
Because
you see what I'm saying? It's a huge, it's a huge cycle. Because look, the girls, the competition is between the boys and the girls in the same class. So the boys and girls don't have any boundaries. So that boy is not looking at that girl as someone to cherish.
So you're so you're saying there's something mentally going on with a boy, so that so are the girls getting better grades? So they're like, oh, now there's no boundaries because you got better grades?
The grades, okay, the grades is just a byproduct of what I'm saying. The grades is a competition. The grades are one form of competition. We could talk about essay scholarships. We can talk about job opportunities. I'm saying boys and girls are competing with each other on everything.
Okay.
It's not just grades. I just used an example of grades. It's not just grades. It's working at McDonald's. It's boys and girls are constantly competing. So then, here, let me show you this. Let me make this example. Boys and girls are constantly competing, but then check this out. When those same boys become 25 and 27 and 30, guess what women are saying? Man, this guy I'm dating, he's so insecure. He's always competing against me when I get more money than him. This starts early.
Yeah, but you know what? I think that this is one of the sicknesses of boys. It's a sickness of male nature. That a male is interpreting it as competition, and now internalizing it, using his penis as a weapon, harboring some stuff from early on, and when he was 8 years old. Now he's like, I'm going to F you women mercilessly because when I was 8, there was no boundaries and we were in competition with each other. I think this is a sickness that exists in the nature of men, that he's interpreting this as some sort of competition, and therefore living it as if it's some sort of competition, and increasing his quote unquote body count because of some aggression he's hopped up on from his own warped mentality.
However way you want to frame it, right? However way you want to frame it. Consider this: the majority of educators are women. So, however you want to frame it, then it's an issue. It's an issue.
Okay.
However you want to put it in a box, you know what I'm saying? If it's the men, if it's the boys, well, the whole thing is that there is a huge cycle of younger boys losing their virginity to older girls. There's a huge cycle of younger girls losing their virginity to older boys. And none of these people are caring about each other. They're not making these choices as, oh, this is going to be a long-term relationship. This is actually going to just be someone to get a nut and an orgasm off, and that's it. It's not just one-sided.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Sword.
This is what we're talking about, right? The pathology of it doesn't add up, because 70% of women have never had an orgasm. If there's an older girl who is attempting to have intercourse with a younger boy, she's not doing it because she's looking for an orgasm. And the younger girls who are having intercourse with these older boys, the girl is not doing it because she's looking for an orgasm. So there's some other stuff going on that has nothing to do with female pleasure, and I think has a great deal to do with attempting to find some viability in a world that we have been told is a man's world. So there's something
That's
else
true.
going on.
You're 100% correct, but that's still not stopping women from sleeping with men. You see what I'm saying? Listen, you're 100% correct.
Women
Women,
and men and girls and boys are different things.
Girls, it's not stopping women and girls. It's not stopping girls seeking validation from men.
Right, but see now,
Seeking validation from boys. It's not stopping that.
this is what we're talking about now. So on the one hand, we're talking about girls seeking validation while men are seeking conquering. So they the competition and the conquering. I'm conquering this girl's body while she's looking for some love and validation. Thank you so much for calling in. Thank you. You just helped improve my point. Thank you. All right, so listen, phone lines are open. We're talking about girls being sent out there to the slaughter. Oh, make sure listen, I'm going to bring you on. I'm going to bring you on the line. Make sure that your computer is down and that you're ready to talk when I come back to you. So listen. You see, most of this was made up in men's heads. The girls are out there just living their lives, getting their grades, while the boys are like, oh, it's a competition. There's no holds barred, no boundaries. And then once their little berries start fibrulating around down there in their pants, then all of a sudden they want to start using their penis as a weapon. Unbelievable. All right, you're on the air live with Tonya. What's your name?
My name is Margot.
Save me, Margot. Please come on my line and make some sense over here, please.
Okay, I will try very, very hard. I am sorry you had to be put through that last call. It was awful. I think that a lot of the last callers who were on the line were confused as to what the conversation was, because I don't think that we're really talking about school and competition. I think that we're mostly trying to talk about the socialization of young children from the ground up, from birth up, how we as young women were taught to behave compared to boys. The simple thing of having to cover yourself up when you're in school, like even the uniform policies that you have. Boys aren't taught the same things that girls are taught. We're taught to be ashamed of our bodies, and boys are taught to kind of spread their bodies all around the place. I mean, like even, was it a couple of months ago, Lil Boosie was talking about how he hired a prostitute to have sexual relations with his like 13-year-old son.
To assault his child, yes.
I mean, exactly. So would he be willing to do the same thing for his daughter? No. It would be a completely different story. You know how much outrage there would be if he were to do that to his daughter? Yeah. And we have people like T.I. who are basically holding their daughters hostage.
Yeah.
And telling them that they can't, even if they're adults. Because I think that she was 18 when he was still claiming that he was holding her and her sexuality hostage for what?
Yeah.
Because she's his property, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I just wanted to call in because I came into the live late and I heard the last couple of callers, and I think all three that I heard were men, and I feel like they kind of were shifting the conversation to something that was not the initial point.
Yeah.
I don't care about I don't care about competition in school age. That has nothing to do with anything. It happens before you even get to school.
Yeah, if there's somebody else out there who can understand what Charles was saying and help us understand how a girl getting better grades translates into now sexually abusing girls and women, I want to understand that. How did it turn into that? And how did we get to there? So you're saying that boys and girls can't compete because then it's going to turn into some sexual conquest, that the competition has no holds barred? God.
That seems to almost be like a symptom of the problem of the socialization, that you see girl competition as some sort of reason to punish them. That's almost what it was seeming like he was saying. I don't really understand because it was creepiness. But yeah, I just wanted to call in so that we could kind of get the conversation back to reality and what your initial purpose of this video was.
All right. Well, thank you so much for calling. Thank you.
Thank you for listening.
All right. All right. So some people been driven to drink. I ain't got there yet, but I have been brewing some stuff. So maybe I gotta go take me a sippy sip from my new brew. Maybe I gotta do that. All right. I'm gonna come to you in just a moment. Make sure that your computer is down and that you're ready to talk when I come to you. Listen, I need help. Listen, I need some help. I need some help. I want to talk about girls being sent out there to the slaughter. That these girls are going out there with their fairy tales in their minds. The matriarchs are not really preparing girls for what the hell is truly out there. And I'm angry at all older women who are not teaching girls the real deal of because they know, older women know what the hell is out there in these damn streets. You're on the air live with Tonya. What's your name?
Hi, Tonya. It's Serene. I am Serene. How are you?
Hey, Rini. How you doing?
I'm good. Oh my gosh, I had to download an app to get to talk to you because the WhatsApp thing wasn't working. And it's like probably 15 to 1 in the morning
Oh, wow.
in the UK. But oh my gosh, I'm so glad. This is like my first time being able to call in.
Yeah,
So,
well, welcome. So we've talked about a lot. You were on the last broadcast. Now you're on this one. We've heard from a lot of callers with a lot of different points of view from east, west, north, and south. So what is your point of view, Serene?
Tonya, I don't know what that last guy was talking about. I was so lost. But I just wanted to come up and say that I do agree with you when it comes to the way we're socialized. Because when I think about the way my mom socialized me, and I did have a brother in the home, my brother was almost like useless. And there were times I had to be like, well, he has hands and he can learn. He has to do stuff. And the way we're taught as women to be ready for marriage and be able to do this, be able to cook, be able to clean, and even though education, well, coming from a Caribbean home, even though education is like one of those things that is a must get, as a woman, it's marriage and it's kids, you know? And I remember I was in a relationship when I was 19 years old, and my mom was like, are you thinking about marriage? And I was like, I don't even have a bachelor's degree. Like, my head is not there. I'm not trying to be anyone's husband. And I'm sure if she had it her way, I would be married. And a lot of men don't understand that it's literally the way that women are socialized, and they are allowed to run rampant throughout their entire life and then give you their leftover goods when they're 35 and 40.
Wait, what leftover goods are you talking about? The old banana?
Yes. We get community dates, we get leftover goods, we get when it's tired and it's of no use, and they come in thinking they're bringing you a present. And this is why I agree with you, like, if I'm going to be suffering, let it be that I'm suffering in a mansion. I don't date men that are not paying their mortgages, that don't have houses, that don't have things for themselves, because you're going to have a headache. There's something about a guy that you're going to have to fix, that you're going to have to tweak, that you're going to have to teach. So why teach and tweak the guy that has no job, no prospects, no nothing? What is the point?
Well, listen, if you've been rolling around with Ken and your Barbie from the time you were 4 years old, you just get to a point where you just got to get any doll to sit over there in your Barbie Corvette.
No. I tell my friends all the time, like, you have to just do better. Because I remember from the age of like 7 or 8, I had 2 siblings that were younger than I, and I was the one at home with those kids at 8. At 8.
Yeah.
Just imagine, like, how can I take up another problem in my adult years to be teaching and molding and forming an adult male? It's absolutely ridiculous. And to see that we're trying to have these conversations with these men, and they don't understand, they can't seem to get it. They either take it personal or they just go off on a tangent. Because I don't know where the guy before was going. Because does he expect girls to just sit in class and pretend to be dumb so that they can win? I am very confused. Because if we left it to it as Black women, if we left it to let the men, we wouldn't be anywhere.
You know, that is interesting. What is the alternative? Not to do well in school? Don't show up?
Exactly.
Shut up? Don't raise your hand?
Anywhere. Because if we didn't do good in school, look where men are currently, Black men are. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. I don't know how he put together that premise, but he needs to go back to the drawing board.
Gotta go back to the drawing board and come up with some new plans. Listen, I don't get it either, and I don't understand how there isn't a differentiation. So because some girls did well in school, so now that you have come of age, now you've lost your virginity to an older woman. Now you're preying on younger ones. I didn't really, it didn't come together for me.
Foolishness. And he should be ashamed to come on television. You know, he should be ashamed to come and say that.
Why? It's his point of view, but he really truly believes this. No.
So a girl did better than me, so no, I'm so insecure and subconscious that no, I have to go and what? No, I don't see her as feminine. How did she lose her femininity because she's smart? How did that correlation happen?
You know what? I guess so listen, Charles, are you still in the comments section? Because I wanna find out from you. So are you saying that if girls never did well in school, if they didn't compete with boys, that then the men would want to protect them and provide for them? It just seems like the goalpost keeps moving. Because first it was, if you were more feminine this. Now you can't even compete educationally. And who is competing? They're just going to school, living their lives. So I want to know from Charles if he's still inside of the comments. So I want to know about that. So Serene, did you see Cuties?
I haven't seen it. I have seen the trailer, and I've heard some reviews about it, and I have heard that it's really good. So I'm surprised people do have really mixed messages. I mean, I guess based on the trailer, yes, but I have heard some really, really good reviews about it. So I will be checking it out.
Okay, so Lady Magic says that she understood what he was saying and that he just worded it wrong. So listen, I want to ask you.
You need to call in.
Yeah, call in and help us understand what he was trying to say. So listen, Serene, question, and I'm going to ask the young ladies out there the question as well. If you listen to all of the instruction that you receive from men about how you should be, how you should behave, what you should be doing, where would you be right now if you listen to all of the instruction?
I would be pregnant with maybe 2 kids and somebody's son's headache. I promise you. I wouldn't be where I am. And it's very interesting because, at the current, I'm single and I'm trying to date. And with what I have acquired thus far, it's kind of hard to even begin to put it in words when I'm dating guys because I don't know, like to get intimidated or something. It's always an issue. So maybe that's what he was trying to say. I am not too sure, but I just know I wouldn't be where I am. I wouldn't be happy. I would not be happy. I would not be content with life. I would have a lot of regrets. And I am glad I did not listen. I'm glad that, I've been following your channel for about 10 years.
Really?
So I've been following
together then?
You were in Nevis. Yeah, since you were in Nevis. I remember the first video I saw from you was a drag racing at Nevis about 10 years ago. I never, I subscribed, I listened and watched you in my entire university years, everything. And honestly, with some common sense and also your advice, I genuinely just knew that I couldn't listen to men. Listening to men is not the option. Listening to some women is not even the option, to be honest.
No, it's true.
But listening to men is not the option. That is not the option.
It's true. So
because men would give you a 6 for a 9.
I know. Tell me, what were some of the early advices that you received from men, the early instruction that you received from men? What was it that they were telling you to do?
Oh, that I have to cook and clean, I have to be very domesticated, or having sex without any title, like no strings attached, and that
Yes.
friends with benefits.
Yes.
And I think they kept repeating it, and a lot of women have fell for it, not realizing that like there's no benefit for a woman to have sex um without a title or be friends with benefits. Like if you're going out there just wanting to have autonomy and ownership of your body, because women have agency, then fair enough. But if you're going out there expecting this guy to commit to you, entering via the avenue of friends with benefits is just absolutely ridiculous. Because you're gonna get attached and he's gonna leave, and then you're left putting your heart back together, and it's not worth it. Because there's so many things that happen during that space of time, pregnancy, STDs. You just sometimes, men literally, being with a man sometimes can take you literally off track from where you are supposed to be.
Yeah.
And a lot of women get caught up in that and either play catch up or they just remain in their position, which is sad. But I say sometimes that I feel like because of the whole, or you can be friends without benefits, a lot of women are being forced to suppress their femininity. Like, it's human to catch feelings, and a lot of women shut themselves off. And they shut themselves off and think it's normal for them as a woman to not have feelings, to not feel after being with a guy for however long, and then he just leaves, and they think it's normal to not have any feelings. It's not normal. You are human. You're feminine. There's a reason why you feel.
Even men catch feelings with other men after a certain amount of time, because but you know they want to act like animals out there. You know what? I'm best with Caribbean accents, but I'm gonna guess Trinidad.
No, actually, the British Virgin Islands.
Oh wow, which one? St. Vincent?
Virgin Islands. I live on Tortola. Well, I grew up on Tortola, I should say.
You know what? I don't think I've ever heard of Tortolan.
Oh, really? Yeah, I'm from Tortola. My mom is actually half Haitian, so the roots are not far apart.
How interesting. My father always talks about Tortola. That was one of the first islands he traveled to when he left Nevis. Montserrat and Tortola.
Oh, that's nice. Oh, my mom is half Haitian as well.
How interesting. It's a small world. It's a small world.
I know.
You know what? I appreciate you so much for calling in. Thank you. Are you in the Caribbean right now?
No, I'm in the UK.
That's right.
I'm in the UK. I've been in the UK since 2013.
Oh, okay. How come you don't have a British accent? Or are you just hiding it?
I think no, I'm not hiding it. I just think that because I'm so, my culture is very important to me, so I don't really have a strong interest in trying to get it to change. And I also do talk to my family almost every day, so I think like it's probably one of those things that is just sticking around for the long haul.
Got you. All right. Well, you know what? It's such a pleasure to have spoken with you. Keep this app or however you do it, and call in more often, okay?
I will. Now that I have this app, I'll definitely be using it.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. And send me a message on my website so I know what app it is that you use, so that I can instruct other people.
Okay, no problem.
All right, then. Thank you for calling in.
Thank you. Have a good evening. Okay.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, so you know what? I want to ask you, the ladies out there, what were some of the early advice that you received from male kind? I'm going to come to you in just a moment. Make sure that your computer's down low, that you're off speakerphone, and that you're ready to talk to me when I come back to you. Some of the early advice that I got from boys was that I shouldn't feel any type of way with people touching me any way that they wanted to touch me or play with me or rough me up any way that they wanted to play or rough me up, right? That was some of the early ones. Then it was, I don't really need education. Then it was, have intercourse in the damn public pool, lose my virginity to whomever, let whoever run up in me if they wanted to. What else? no need for unprotected sex, or no need for protected sex. What else? Get married early, right? I would have been married to somebody who I would have been miserable right now, saddled down with a bunch of children and unhappy. So some of the early advice that I got was to leave school, allow myself to be ran up in by goodness knows whom, let my body be touched and used and battered in any way that they wanted to. No, don't use protection, get married early, just allow whoever wanted me and be with them. And don't travel. Don't travel. What else? Don't express too much of my personality. Be plastic. Wear weave. Wear weave. Oh my goodness. Listen. You're on the air live with Tonya. What's your name?
Felicia.
What's your name, Alicia?
Felicia.
Okay. Hi, Felicia. So what is your comment today about girls being sent out to slaughter?
Well, the thing is that I think that the African American woman has the most problems, especially in dating. I mean, if you're over 40, you are told that you hit the wall, that you are pretty much worthless, and that nobody wants you. I am recently divorced, and been divorced for 2 years, and I can tell you, Tonya, there is nothing but trash out here, and I'm sorry to say that. I mean, there's some gentlemen who probably could have some decent qualities about them, but they're not ready to settle down. These are men who are 45 and up and still acting very much like a young man, like if they're 25 or 30, and they're not settled. They don't have any real stability. And you wonder, like, what's really going on? Or are they expecting women to settle? Or are they thinking that they're the prize? I really don't know. But I have heard, my brother tells me this all the time, any woman over 40 has hit the wall, and realistically, she needs to just get in a rotation and she'll be happy with it.
What rotation? You mean like on a conveyor belt of other women as he stick his penis
yes.
in? Stick his penis
yes,
in?
Tonya, yes, Tonya, yes.
How interesting. How interesting. Well,
yes.
Listen, they have a rude awakening if they think that. So listen, no, they say women are hitting the wall at 24. So you don't even have a chance.
24?
Girl,
wow.
Listen. This is what they're saying out there. It's they done dropped it. First it was 50, then it was 40, 30, now it's 24. Then they talking about, listen, so the only time that you have is between 18 and 23. That's the only time you have.
So then the question is, then what value do women serve for men? Because if you're at 45 and almost 50, let's be really about it. Most men do not live beyond 55, right? Especially African American men who have different vices such as alcoholism or drink, heavily, if they smoke. So their average lifespan is between 52 and 55.
Okay.
So if in your last quarter of life you don't find any value in women like that, it's kind of mind-boggling, because you would think this to be the time where you should be settled, being able to travel, really creating your legacy, laying that out. But it's like a lot of men, unfortunately, like I said, I've been on the dating scene for the last 2 years, and I honestly can tell you, between men who are actively cheating on their wives out here, or men who just not in a position to settle. And I mean, some of these men is not even men I would want to settle down with. I'm talking about, like, guys, I mean, it's not how much you make, but realistically, you still want, when I was married, my husband provided a good life for me. So unfortunately, I'm not willing to, mess with any nobody. So I do have some standards, and I'm gonna be honest with you. What I've met out here is very sorry, and it's almost discouraging for a lot of women. I know several single women, and at this point, we're just at the point of just saying, well, if we can't find, someone of equality, and we might as well just focus on ourselves.
Well, Well, why did you, if it's not too personal, why did you decide to get divorced? Was it just not working?
My husband gave up on himself, and that's the easiest way that I can say. He actually started really drinking heavily. My intent was for us to separate with the intent for him to find himself and really kind of, get his priorities together, and it never happened.
So he gave up on himself. Was he having erectile issues? Because they can't see past that.
Well, no.
Okay.
I can't say it was just that. I think that sometimes when men find, disenchanted in their work, his father was going through some illness. So, of course, that kind of helped precipitate, some of his alcoholism. But it really had got really traumatic within the relationship to the point where I felt like I needed to give him space to find himself. And the unfortunate part is that, he didn't. And if he did find himself, he didn't find himself with me. Let me say that, and I'm okay with that. But I say that to say, and again, there are men will admit that, they do go through a period where they may kind of, lose themselves or whatever, midlife crisis. But the problem is that, when a relationship becomes toxic and is no longer balanced, it's it's time to step out. So I decided to step out, and once I noticed that, there was no reconciliation, I moved forward. So with that said,
did you all try therapy?
Like I said, I'm sorry.
Did you all try therapy?
Me? Am I in therapy?
No, the relationship. Did you try therapy?
No, because it got too traumatic. And my concern was that he was at a very vulnerable stage. He really needed time just to find himself. And sometimes people need that. Sometimes people need space to put things in priorities, in terms of their life. Like I said, we were together for 10 years, but for whatever reason, like I said, the alcoholism really took a huge hold on our relationship, and it became very, it went from financial abuse to, some physical abuse, and that was obviously the line, the line in the sand. But with that said, I don't even want to focus on him because realistically, I'm hoping that he finds himself and he don't have to find himself with me. So I'm happy with that. I'm just trying to move forward. But what I'm telling you is that in the dating scene, the quality of men is scary out here, Tonya. It's really scary.
Well, I mean, you were only married for 10 years, so how much did they change in 10 years?
Well, here's the thing. I'm going to say this. When my husband courted me,
okay,
he showed me that he really, really wanted to be with me. Mm-hmm. He exposed me to different things, just a different lifestyle. And I'm a plus size female, dark skin. So I want to put it out there because I know a lot of times women automatically assume, you have to be light skinned and this and this. No. My husband did all of that and really showed me I was of value, from the gate. I didn't have to date him 2 years for me to know he wanted me. So, but what I'm saying is, for what I see now,
how long in
for what I
did he
see
start
now,
to change?
Go ahead.
How long in did he start to change into this other person?
Well, we were together for since 2006, and we separated 2017 and divorced in 2018. So that we were together for over 10 years. But it was that 2017 was a trying year, very trying. Financially, just a lot of things had changed. I mean, there was a huge shift, and that's where I felt like it was time to kind of do the separation and give him some space for him to get his priorities together. But like I said, it never happened, and I'm okay with it at this point, of my life. My issue is just kind of moving forward. What I see on the dating scene, I mean, like I said, I have multiple, coworkers and friends who's actively trying to date, and what they face with is men who are highly inconsistent, men who don't have any level of consideration, don't know how to speak to a woman correctly. It's like they're savages. There's no groomers. Like, who raised you? And it's sad. It's really sad out here. I mean, it really is sad. And I'm not saying that there's no good men. and I get, a lot of people say, well, you are what you attract. No, I don't agree with that. I believe you are what you entertain. So if I entertain you, then that's on me. You can't, because I was born and raised in the Bronx. And Tonya, I know men would holler at you any old day. It could be a bum on the street, but that don't mean you have to entertain them.
How interesting.
Yeah.
So you're from the Bronx, because I'm from the Bronx as well.
Yes. Yes, I'm from the Bronx. I've been living in North Carolina in the surrounding area of Charlotte, Waxhaw, and now I currently live in Lake Wylie, South Carolina. So I've been here for the last 19 years. So these men, I'm not, again, I
want to know if my accent is like yours. Does my accent sound like yours to me? Does my accent sound like your accent?
I don't know, because you know what? I've been in the South for 19 years, but people still say to me that I still sound like I'm from New York.
You do.
Really?
Oh, yes.
Oh boy, wow.
Very strong
people
accent.
say it all the time.
I camouflage my accent. Sometimes it comes out, but listen, your story is so interesting, but you know what? We've been on for 12 minutes. So I forgot what was the point of your call. Hold on. What did we start out talking about?
My point is that the dating scene, women are currently older women.
Uh-huh.
My point is that older women are challenged in facing quality men. And yes, the unfortunate part is men out here are savages. And so, yes, women are thrown to the wolves. I mean, who has raised these men? They don't know how to have conversations with women. They lack any consideration. They're not gentlemen. It's a lot. And I'm telling you, I have girlfriends who are beautiful young women in their 30s, and they still are experiencing the same savagery.
Lord of mercy. You know what? I will say this, though. I will say this. I do think that every person that we attract people into our lives because there's something about them that reflects something back to us. And we recognize certain things in people, and we recognize what it is that we have a relationship to but don't want to associate with. But we do attract sometimes we attract parts of us that we're in denial about. Do you have a background of anybody in your life with alcoholism?
Well, you know what? It's interesting. My grandfather, even though I don't know him, he was an alcoholic. So okay. I mean, I get the whole generational curses things or whatever, but I'm not even talking about that. And it's fine to address. It's just my concern is that sometimes people make a correlation that you are who you attract. And we know men, normally they are not looking for anything other just from the gate, it's external beauty. They're not looking at you and saying, oh, you're very intelligent, I can see me building with you. They don't decipher that well until they have conversations. And still they want to take you through a whole process of 6 months to 12 months in terms of this quote unquote dating phase. So I don't believe that. I think,
well, you know what? I believe it. I believe
real
that.
I
believe that.
Can I say one thing, Tonya? Last thing I say. Let's be real about it. Flies attract to shit as well as wine. That doesn't mean. Unfortunately, they're going to come whether it's wine or shit. But at the end of the day, the question is what you're entertaining. And so for me, I try to minimize who I'm willing to entertain.
Well, you know what? Listen. I feel you. I hear you. There's a book called The Dark Side of the Light Worker by Debbie Ford. I believe that's Shadow. It's about shadow work, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's some parts of us that we're in denial about, right? That we attract into our lives, and the reflection of it is so stark that we don't want to associate with it. But if we can find the blessing in what it is that is reflected back to us, even if we reflect, you know what? This is something that existed in this part of my life, I make a choice not to be that. Because you did make a choice. You made a choice that was what was being reflected back to you by your husband was something that you did not want to associate with. And so you made the choice to say, you know what? I acknowledge that this is what you're going through. I don't see my reflection in that, though I know that I attracted this situation into my life for a reason, and then you turned away from it. But I truly believe that there's blessings in all of the people that come into our lives, the situations that we attract into our lives, and all of that. And I think that while we deny that it has any semblance to us, we really cut ourselves off from growth and really fully seeing the larger picture of who it is that we are.
Well, I received that, Tonya. Thank you so much.
All right,
Thank
Mama.
you.
Thank you for calling in and blessing us with the BX. The BX. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye. Bye.
All right. So listen. We've been going for about 3 hours. We've been going for more than 3 hours. I don't know how we do these long shows, right? Yes. So someone is saying I respectfully disagree. You know what? Do some more work. Do some shadow work. Because there's a lot of different descriptions out there, but the ones that you reject, there's some healing in there. You're on the air live with Tonya.
Hello?
What's your name? Listen, by the time you hear my voice, turn down your computer and get ready to talk. You're on the air live. What's your name?
Yeah, it's down.
All right, what's your name? Talk to me through the phone.
My name is Solita.
Hi, Solita. So talk to us. What's your comment about the topic tonight?
Okay, I really wanted to say some things about cuties, and I also wanted to address what that man was saying. He doesn't even know what the hell he was saying, but I know what he was saying without him knowing that that's what the hell he was airing out.
Okay, so let's talk about it then.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Oh, we're on now?
Yes, you're on the air.
Oh, okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. So, sorry, I was looking at, and I'm like, oh my gosh. Okay. Anyway, so, yeah, I wanted to talk about cuties. Okay. I wanted to talk about what really annoys me about when people are criticizing the movie. Okay. They are coming at it from this point of that it's about pedophilia. It is not about pedophilia. I know that you probably went over this in your last video or something like that. I didn't get to, see everything. Yeah, it's like, what happened? Okay, sorry. I need to stop looking at the screen.
I'm gonna put you on mute.
I'm
gonna put you on mute. Solita, I've had to put you on mute because listen, when you come on my airwaves, I need you to be ready. I need you to be ready to converse. So I'm going to talk to the audience for a moment. I need you to get yourself together and do whatever it is that you need to do in order to not be distracted. I'll come back to you in a moment. All right. So right now we're talking about girls being sent out to slaughter. Go ahead and thumbs up this video right now. Thank you all for coming out. If my videos have helped you, consider giving a contribution to my Cash App. I'll give you a shout out on the air right now. The PayPal link is below. I'll give you a shout out on the air if you send it during this broadcast. But if my videos have helped you, if you're enjoying the broadcast, if you're enjoying these moments and these hours that we get to spend with one another, contribute, support the creators that support your growth and your learning and your expansion. On my website, if you go to TonyaTKO.com/support, or if you just click on the support tab, you can see an area there where you can contribute monthly. You can become a platinum subscriber and get a special phone number to call in on. You'll also be able, I'm setting up a way to be able to send subscribers text messages so that you know when we're going live and be able to get certain updates and be able to have personal contact with me. So we appreciate that. Thank you very much. Let's see. We're going to pick the caller back up, and then I want to hear you all inside of the comments area and what it is that we're talking about. All right. So listen, Solita, you're back on the air. I hope you've gotten yourself together and are ready to talk.
Yeah, I actually have bullet points and everything. So here's the thing. So what I wrote down as bullet points is Cuties is not about pedophilia. And that's what really hurts me, is that people don't understand that Cuties is essentially about the oppression of women and where it starts.
Yes.
Now, I saw her interview that was, that she was addressing that it's about the oppression of women, and the people in the comments were going crazy. This isn't about women. These are 11-year-old girls. Okay, it's about where oppression of women starts. And it starts there. It starts when we are placed in the sea of, the line where there's the dichotomy. You are only allowed two choices as a girl. You're only allowed two choices as to what it means to be a woman. There's the whore dichotomy and the virgin dichotomy, okay? So when you see this girl, knowing that that's not what she wants to be, when she sees her mother doing everything that a man would tell her that a good woman is, it gets her, searching. It gets searching. It's also symbolic that she's in a new school around an unfamiliar place with this presenting her oncoming period, okay? So it's really about the new social norm, okay? So I read this amazing tweet. Maybe I'll put try to share a link with you or something like that. But this is what it's like to be a girl. This is not the same as a boy's coming of age story. Boys get this fun, rambunctious, adventurous story, where girls, we get the story of painful lessons, okay? Painful lessons about how we are viewed and what we are expected to be in this world. Now, it kind of brings it back to what that man didn't realize what the hell he was trying to fucking say. Excuse my language, sorry. That he was threatened, that he's threatened by girls. So in a world where men and women were separate back then when they got education, and sometimes most of the time not at all, boys were probably told things about girls, about, how they're more academically inclined and stuff. But when they see the girls in front of them being better than they are, especially in subjects like English and art, which used to be a manly thing, now it's a girly thing to do art, because they felt threatened by the allowance of girls to flourish in these fields. Okay. So it reminds me of a time where I was dating a boy who, and I was just 16, and I'm very artistically inclined. Okay. Now he would be in and out of juvie, and while he was in juvie, he would send me pictures, drawings that he would draw of fairies, and I drew fairies as well before. That's why he was drawing them. But when he saw my drawings when he came out of juvie, he got mad. He got angry. He was crying and I said, why? He said, because you're better than me. And I said, why is that a problem? Okay, it's so much easier to talk to you with the screen covered up. Anyway, he was mad. He was mad because he felt inadequate. When a woman marries a man, her job is to make him feel like the smartest, richest, most bestest in the world. But her only job for her feelings to feel sexually available and sexually attractive, and that's what those girls in that movie were learning. That is rewarded behavior. The only behavior that is rewarded from a woman is to be sexually attractive, is to make a man cross twitch. And that is what they were learning, was rewarded behavior. So how does it make everyone uncomfortable when you see it on screen, but when you see it in real life, you make fun of the little girl and say she had no business doing that? But it seems like you are just as uncomfortable there saying, whoa, what are these girls really learning? I understand that sex is power and sex is a liberator, but sex is also a cage in the way that it's made to be expected of you to be sexy. It is no longer a weapon to use against patriarchy. Okay? So in a lot of ways, we are coming out of the patriarchy of sexuality being in the grips of the man's fist and being in our hands. But at the same time, we're teaching some young girls who will flip through
through social media. This is nothing new. There's nothing new under the sun. Only the social media is making it easier to access these ideas. That's the only way to be powerful. That is the only way to win over. Okay, there's two options. Now I know there's other options out there, but they're not the ones that are rewarded during social media. It's not what gets class. Do you remember? Do any of these ladies in here remember when they knew they had to find their place amongst their friends and peers, and it seemed like everyone who was popular was a sexualized, hypersexualized girl? Do you remember when they were dancing and the only way you could get clapped is if you shook your ass and literally humped the floor like in that movie? I've done that. I've done that to try to get someone to like me.
Let's do a survey, okay? So what was we're gonna do a survey. What were the last numbers that we did for the last survey? So we could do the next numbers. I'm gonna wait for them to come up with the last numbers that we did so that we could jump to the next numbers. So because we did 2 different broadcasts, so I wanna do a survey about this. But yeah, so you said something that was so profound. So you were saying that so the last numbers were 2 and 3. Okay, so you know what? We'll do 4 and 5 then. We'll do 4 and 5.
I see someone say that's not what he meant. That's not what he thinks he meant, but what he was revealing.
Yeah,
okay?
You know what? Hold on. If you're on the phone with me, please be on the phone with me. Do not worry about what's going on the screen, okay?
Oh, sorry.
Okay, stay with me now. Because if you want to stay in the comments, you could be in the comments. If you want to be on the phone with me, you could be on the phone with me. All right, so you know what? We'll do 6 and 7 then, since people are confused about the numbers. All right. So if the girls in your high school or even as young as you, you know what? Let's do this. We're gonna do a double survey, right? Actually, you know what? Let's just do a number survey. Let's do a number survey. All right. If the girls in your circle, if the girls in your school were rewarded for their sexuality, right? I want you to put up let's see, because I really want to know about how young the girls were who started getting rewarded, like the ones who were sexual. Because I know in high school, the girls who were popular, the girls who got the lead dance, the girls who the boys liked, the girls who had the mystique were the ones who were sexual, the ones who were sexually active, the ones who had sexual allure. And I first started realizing this in junior high school. I would say 7th, 8th grade. The girls who would let the boys do certain things. Yeah, some of them got a bad rap, but they were still popular. You know what I mean? It's like they had a little bit of a bad rap, but then they were popular. And I would say, so I want to know what grade, and so I just want you to put what grade, okay? And whether or not you noticed that the girls were rewarded for sexuality. So if you saw that they were rewarded for sexuality, put up a 6. If they were not rewarded for sexuality, put up a 7. And then I also want you to come back and tell me what grade. All right. Okay. All right. Oh, wow. We're talking about as early as 6th and 7th grade. College, 9th, 10th grade, 6th. Okay, 6th and 7th grade. Wow. So you might be onto something, Solita. So Solita, you were, listen. So did you say that the boy came out of juvie? What did you say he came out of when he saw your fairy art?
Yeah, juvenile detention.
Oh, so he was a delinquent?
Yes and no, but yes. Yeah.
No, listen. A lot of boys get caught up in the system, especially when you're in a major city and the person is of color. So okay, so he saw your fairy art, and so you see, this is the thing that's a little confusing to me, right? So it started in middle school for some people, 5th grade. God, so this is the thing that's a little confusing to me, right? I remember when I had TKO skin, there was this man who was trying to get with me. And he came over to TKO Skin and he wanted to just take a look around at my business. And he looked at the shelves and, you know, the areas, the multiple computers where my employees sat, and then the production area and the shelves with stock and all of the areas for the boxing and all this other stuff, right? And when he saw all of that, he was like, you know what? I really need to get myself together. I need to get myself together before. And then so he left our relationship, right? And I did not fault him for leaving the relationship. I was like, okay, well, you know, he said he needed to get himself together because he felt inadequate. He was like, yeah, you know, I thought I was doing well in business, but you're doing better. And I need to, as a man, I need to do better. So the thing that confuses me is I can understand a man saying that, but then why are there so many bums out there being taken care of by women? What are your thoughts on that?
Why there's so, because women, especially African American women, are so desperate because this was another thing that was one of my issues. I always thought I should start a YouTube channel just to rant, but here's the thing. They're still stuck. Some of these women out there are still stuck in this mentality that they need a man, but we used to need men, okay? You know.
The call got disconnected, Solita. If you get a chance to call back, you can call back, but the phone got disconnected. Yeah, so that's the dichotomy that's confusing to me. That's the dichotomy that's confusing. So we have men out there who are like, yeah, you know, this in terms of the competition, I need to make sure that I'm doing better, right? I'm going to come to you in just a moment. Just make sure your computer is down and that you're ready to talk on the phone. So let me give a shout out to the people who have sent their cash apps through. So Felicia, thank you for the $20. She says for today's broadcast, love for today's broadcast, and I have to accept that. So Stephanie, thank you for the $10. Tanya Walker, thank you. Thank you for the $20. Thank you. Thank you all for the love and support. I really appreciate that. The Cash App is $Tonya TKO. Go ahead and thumbs up that video. It matters for the YouTube algorithm. And go ahead, thumbs up, thumbs up. We have almost 400 people on, 158 thumbs up. Go ahead and thumbs up that. You can also support by going to Amazon and getting my book of affirmation, Self-Love. It helps you rewrite your subconscious program. Get this book and use that to shift the thoughts and the brainwave pattern going on the inside. I am a certified clinical hypnotherapist. I am a certified clinical hypnotherapist and a life coach. And I wrote this book with the most powerful affirmations that helped me when I was living in my car. Like how everybody said 2017 was a hard year. I was living in my car. Things were very difficult. I didn't know how I would get out, and things kept getting further and further down. I use these affirmations to reattune my mind and to attract abundance to me. Now I'm living very well, traveling the world again. I live off the grid inside of an RV, and I'm abundant. I'm doing very, very well. And all of that happened from a mind shift. So let me give another thank you to, okay, so we have Antoine who sent $20 saying that I'm his fave. Thank you, Antoine. I appreciate that. You're my fave too. All right, so you're on the air live. What's your name?
Yeah, my name is Michelle.
Hi, Michelle. So what is your comment?
Yeah, I wanted to make a comment on the movie, the cutie, whatever that trash is supposed to be, and I just want to make a quick comment about that. I think it is kind of like pedophile eye candy. The caller that just had spoken, I mean, I understand kind of where she wanted to go with that, but she was kind of making it more to be some kind of feminism, boys against women, boys are jealous of women, and that is true in a lot of aspects. But I just think that we are going towards in a society where we're kind of sexualizing younger children.
younger people. And I just think that we have to protect the young. It's
Okay.
if you've ever known anyone that's been sexually molested, you know, however they deal with that situation that has occurred, a lot of times if they don't deal with it in the proper way, they're really screwed up. Okay, both men and women. So, I mean, it's very important that we in society protect the young any way possible. And we can't make it be about an issue about boys and girls and men being jealous of women. This is about children at the end of the day. So, I just wanted to make that comment.
Okay. So question for you. Hello?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, so the question for you is, at what age did you start noticing men looking at you sexually?
11 years old.
Okay. And were you dancing like the young ladies inside of the movie? Did you see the movie?
No, I didn't see the movie, and no, I wasn't. And I understand that men can look at people in a sexual way without them being dressed a certain way, dancing a certain way, and all that kind of stuff. But no, I wasn't.
Okay.
I was
So, you
a
know
young
what?
girl. I mean, I'm 35 years old, so back in the day, being 10 and 11 was a different time in the world. So
Yeah, so I saw the movie today. I saw some of the clips, and some of the clips that I saw were disturbing. When I saw the movie in context, it was actually a very well done film that captured a lot of a much larger societal issue about the ways that we are socializing girls, a female's worth. The movie is very deep and very layered, and there were some parts of the movie that turned my stomach. You know, there were some parts that made me feel sick to my stomach. There were some parts that made me want to weep. But the parts that made me want to weep, so first of all, anybody who looks at these young girls and what it is, because these girls, they did excellent casting, because there was no mistaking that these girls had not gone through the transition of puberty. They were pre-pubescent. They had little girls' bodies. So anybody who looks at these girls and sees something sexually attractive, these are people who had problems that pre-existed this movie, right? This movie actually captures something that is happening and has been happening throughout the ages in terms of girls learning what their worth is in the societies that we are indoctrinating them into. And one of the things that was prevalent in the movie is that nobody was talking to the girl. No one had sat down and had conversations with her about the power of sensuality, the beauty of sensuality. They just told her it was whorish, it was bad, it was all of this other stuff. And this film coming out is a conversation. This film coming out is a conversation. If the film never came out, that doesn't mean that it's not happening out there, that there aren't little 11-year-old girls hiking up their skirts in the mirror because they know that that is what has been taught to them is their allure as a girl. That they're not, pulling back their budding breasts and looking at their flat bodies and imagining some hips there. Because even so much as when I was 7 years old, 5, 6, 7 years old, I remember, how many of you out there remember this with Bugs Bunny when he would dress up in drag and then all of a sudden he had the power to make Elmer Fudd start sputtering and spattering because he would put on his heels and he would have his curves and he would be moving boom, boom, boom. And there was this mystique that was always taught to us about the feminine mystique. And so little girls nowadays, what do they have to hold on to in terms of finding their worth in this society, in a society that gives the accolades to the young ladies who are asked out? So I think that this is a really important film. I think it's important for people to watch it and not just the previews, and really have a much larger conversation about how we socialize boys, how we socialize girls, what a girl's worth is. I think that these are conversations that must be had. Because people even talked about the girls who were popular were the ones who were sexualized. And this happened long before cuties. Men were pedophiles long before cuties. And these are conversations that we must have.
We're talking about bringing on the acceptance and the promotion of it all. That's what I'm trying to make my point of. I get what you're saying.
What promotion?
My opinion.
They were dancing.
Respecting your opinion.
They were dancing. There was no dildos in there. There was nobody hopping up and down on a dick. They were dancing.
Yeah, I know, but I kind of do see the point where some men think they're better protectors when it comes to children, because I think women sometimes, you got to call it what it is. There are some people that I said in the comments before I called, but why did they have to use the promotion, the clips and all that? All of that suggestive self, period. The movie made a bit about something else. They want to drive the traffic in the eyes to the movie based off of the promotional, clips or previews of the movie itself. That's all I'm saying. No, I didn't watch the film. No, I didn't. But I can see why men say that sometimes there needs to be a man around, because a lot of you women are a little bit too liberal in the way you're thinking about certain situations. And that's just it. I mean, that's my opinion. That's it. I love your show.
Yeah, and you know what? One of the things happening inside this film is that the father was not around.
I'm not a Pygmisha on the phone. But I'm going to call it what it is.
Listen. Like I say, if you want to be on the phone with me, be on the phone with me. If you want to go back into the comments,
I'm done. I'll get in the comment section.
Okay, so go to the comment section and talk to people in the comment section, right? So here we have a woman who called in and said that, this is why they say that men are needed, because there are far too many women who are liberal. This is a much larger conversation. The girls were dancing. That is it. And in their innocence and in their ignorance, they don't really know what it is that they do. And they have no context for those movements. They have no context. An 11-year-old girl has no context for the movements that she's doing. She is mimicking what it is that she's seeing other women do that is getting accolades, or rather older women. She's mimicking what gets accolades, what gets the attention, what gets people to, I'm going to come to you in a moment, make sure that your computer is down and that you're ready to talk to me, right? So they're mimicking, they have no context for that. Bumping the floor, touching, they have no context for that. They don't know what it is. Inside of the NCC, so this is part of the reason. Right, this is part of the reason that, so somebody is saying I knew the context of those actions at 11. At 11, you did not know the context of it. You didn't. You had no context for it. Unless you had been sliding up and down on a dick at the age of 11, you didn't have any context for it. They were just movements. You're not feeling it from the inside. It was not something that you were doing because you were sexual. Listen, let's call it what it is. Right? So they were looking at porn inside of the movie, and inside of the porn, you could hear what they were saying about the porn. They didn't understand what consent was. They didn't understand where the penis goes once it goes into the body. There was none of that stuff that they understand. Listen, 70% of you women out there have never had a motherfucking orgasm. So don't talk to me about whether or not you know the context. Some of you don't even know how your own body works still as grown women. So come on, let's be truthful with one another. They were dancing. That's it. They were dancing. And the person who is looking at that as fodder for their own sexual play is the person who is sick, not the girls. Those girls are children and they're innocent. And they are attempting to make sense of the world that we adults have fucked up for them. All right? They're attempting to make sense of the havoc that we have left them in. That, listen, we've done this. We have. And we're the ones who are not talking to and fully educating girls. Because there's so many of us who are absolving ourselves of the responsibility and then putting it on some men. Oh, if there were only more men. If you knew the true nature of men, you wouldn't be saying that. Because men in and of themselves don't freaking know. Come on now. Let's talk about that. They don't freaking know. They're going through the motions themselves. Cherie, thank you for the $20 on PayPal. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. You on the air live with Tonya. What's your name?
Hey, Tonya. My name is Toya.
Hi, Toya. I see you stressing the oi so that we don't get it confused with Tonya. Okay, go ahead, Toya.
I just wanted to say that really touched my heart, what you just said, because I think it's so unfair to just human beings in general that just simple movements of the body, like opening your hips or like, stooping down, it's just automatically, we're so trying to perceive it as sexual, even when we're seeing someone who we shouldn't perceive as a sexual being, children, we shouldn't be perceiving them that way. We just automatically assign those postures and gestures to being sexual. When they're just expressing themselves, they're just dancing, they're just having fun. Like, for example, a lot of, when I was growing up, you were talking about, what age were you when you noticed that girls were being overly sexual. And I did notice that there were some girls who were being tolerated, that they were using being very overly sexual as an end to get some sort of acceptance. Mm-hmm. But by and large, in my community, it was very much looked down upon to do anything that might be considered too sexual. Like you couldn't you couldn't say certain words. You couldn't have your shirt buttoned down mm-hmm. too low. If you did anything, wore too much makeup, you could risk having a bad reputation, like these girls did. Mm-hmm. But those particular girls didn't mind, because I'm assuming for them that was a way to get some sort of attention that they weren't getting elsewhere. And it's just a shame that just having a body as a woman is automatically assigned to being sexual, and then because you're being sexual, you're automatically some sort of a criminal or villain. Mm-hmm. And I think it's so sick. On the other hand, it's like, being that we understand that that's the world that we're in, we do need to have these conversations, especially with our young girls, because yes. they need to understand how to navigate that. Because you can present yourself in a way where, you can express yourself and be yourself, but there's going to be some situations where, do you want to fight the battle of trying to prove to somebody that the way that they think is wrong, or do you want to be strategic about how your image is received? Because sometimes you need to go ahead and, like me, I've worked in corporate and very male-dominated environments. I've never slept around or anything, but there are times when I needed to kind of soften my voice and it, or not be too, when I'm presenting an idea, if I wanted to get favor for that, I needed to say it in a certain way where I was more feminine to get, the alliance of other men. Or even, to be honest, sometimes, you can dress a certain way where you showing just enough cleavage to get what you want, but not too much where you're being looked at as some kind of whore. Like I think somebody said sensuality is powerful and it can be useful if you are strategic. You don't have to necessarily be some sort of criminal just because you understand that that's a power that you have and you know how to use it. But I think we're multifaceted creatures, and it's okay to have all these different aspects to you. So that's my comment.
I'm glad that you brought that up, because there's a few different things going on, right? First of all, thumbs up the video. Thank you all for thumbsing up the video. Thank you for the PayPals and the Cash Apps that are coming through. I really appreciate them. They definitely help to keep the show going. So there's a few different things that you mentioned, right? And okay, so female sexuality is very powerful. Female sexuality is very powerful. It's intoxicating, it's powerful, it's alluring, it's captivating, it is controlling. Female sexuality and sensuality is powerful. And this is part of the reason that there's so many men from the Bible days and beyond who have attempted to control female sensuality. So that's one thing, because female sensuality is controlled even in women, where we have women out there who are bragging about how virginal they are, how they only had 40-year-old women talking about they only had 3 partners and they had one partner and all of this other stuff, and bragging about being celibate for 10, 15 years and all this other stuff, as if that is some sort of prize that they are celibate from men, because there's a sense that the man owns your body, and that when you are celibate, you are having the control of your body so that a man does not own it, right? When you could be celibate and be celibate because somebody else is controlling what it is that you're doing with your body, or you could be having intercourse, and you could be having intercourse because there's somebody else that is controlling your body. It's really a matter of where you come from as a woman in terms of your own sexual expression, right? And your own having control of your body, right? I'm just going to put that out there, because one or the other does not denote, but if your body is yours, you can do with your body as you choose, whether that is to be celibate for you, or because you're being celibate because you're saving your pussy for somebody else who is outside of you, because this is really his pussy that you're just holding on to for the time being, so you got to keep it nice and tight for him. Not what it is that you want as a woman, right? So some man who been slinging his dick from Philly to from Pennsylvania to Pasadena, he been slinging his dick coast to coast, but you've been keeping yours on lockdown, clamping up your little twatina, because you want to save yourself for some man who hasn't been saving himself for you. You denying yourself the pleasure, and then when he gets with you, you don't even know what it is that you like as a woman. You don't know what turns you on. You don't know what type of strokes you like. You don't know how to. You don't have the muscle fortitude to be able to even ride up and down on top of it. You don't have the skill or the talent to be able to use your kegels. You don't know any of this, right? And so it's like there's an imbalance, because you're getting with a man who's been from coast to coast with his penis, then he gets with you, and the idea of being with someone virginal is something that he thought that he wanted, because he wanted to be the only person to explore that land. But then when he gets in there, the man is not pleased, right? He doesn't know, you don't know how to please him. He doesn't even know how to get pleasure in there, except in the ways that the simple vanilla ways in and out that he gets pleasure. Right? So that's one thing. What existed in that movie is another thing, because we have the underaged exploration of that sensuality in a public realm where it's not safe for them to do so, because of the way that men run rampant. Because if there were no predatory men, we would not be as afraid. We would not be as offended by that movie. If there were not predatory men out there looking at those little girls getting hard-ons. If it wasn't for the predators out there, we would not be as harsh on these girls as we are being. And I think that we have misdirect anger. Our anger is misdirected at the actions of girls who are mimicking and pantomiming what they're seeing older women do to get the attention, to get the accolades, to get the likes, to get the boys, to get the what is that word? What is that word when somebody tells you that you did good? When somebody praises you.
Like the praise.
Yes. Yeah. And so you're only mimicking what you have seen works. And you don't really understand, and nobody really ever teaches you when is the time and the place to really explore your own sensuality. Approval, yes. Praise, approval, validation. Very good. Yes. Yes. So it's like, when is the time that it's okay? Is it okay when you're 16? Is it okay when you're 17? Is it okay when you're 18? I want to know, when is the time that it's all right? 20? 21? When is the time that a woman really truly has the reign to hone and harvest her sensuality? To use it to what is the word? Starts with a C. It's when you do like with the winds with the turbines. I can't think of the word.
Generate. Generate
is not the word, but it's when does a woman get the chance to do that?
To cultivate it.
Yes. When does she get a chance to cultivate her own sexuality?
It's almost like you said, like, now that you're saying that, that's true. Like, it's the misdirected frustration, because I think a part of it is denial too. It's like, it's easier to blame the little girls and the parents than it is to really admit that there's this problem, there's this elephant in the room that is this dysfunction, this deranged, sexuality that certain men have. And it's like, but how do you fix that problem? How do you address that? Because a lot of them are, they're hiding it. They're not out. They're outright in the open with it. And it's like, it's almost like there's never a time or a place where you can be safe, at least in a public sense.
Yeah.
It's like you have to be really strategic about it.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
You know what? I'm going to do a survey, and I want to ask you a question too. I'm going to survey you all out there. At what age did your parents start telling you that you need to stay away from boys, be careful of boys, not to express your sexuality, not to express your sensuality? At what age did your parents start telling you that? And you too, please tell me.
My mom started telling me that when I was about 4 or 5.
Really? Oh my gosh.
Yeah. The first time my mom told me something like that, I was outside playing it with this little boy, one of the neighbors. He was chasing me. My mom yelled, she called me, Tonya, get in here. And I went in there and she's like, what are you doing out here? It was like I was in trouble, and I didn't know what I was in trouble for, like what I did. And I was like, I was just playing. And she was like, you know what? You keep being out there playing with that little boy, you end up getting pregnant. I'm not watching no babies. And I'm like, 5 years old.
Lord have mercy. You can what?
Yeah.
Oh Lord. So I'm seeing ages all the way from 4 up to 12, 10. I'm seeing all types of ages. Okay. So now second part of the survey, and I want you to write the word end before the number so that I know that you're writing for the end of the age, right? So remember, END, end. When did it end? When did your parents say, okay, now go forth and be sexual. Go out there and now you can enjoy yourself. Now you can go out there and explore men, explore your sexuality. At what age did they give you permission to go out there? So I want you to write when it ended, END, and then the age. All right. So at 17, your parents told you, okay, now you can go out there and enjoy yourself. Someone is saying end at 26. When did yours end, Toya?
I don't think it ever ended. Like, I never had that conversation.
That right there is the key. That right there is the ticket. Because they tell you, stay away from boys. Don't do this. Keep your vagina to yourself. But they never give you permission. They never tell you when that stage ends. They don't, for the most part, they don't say, okay, well now go forth. Now is the time that you're of age now. Go out there. Here's some condoms. Go have some fun. They don't tell you when it ends, when boys are okay. So they teach you boys are the devil, boys are bad, boys are this, stay away from them, keep your legs closed. But they never come to you and say, well, you know what? Open up them legs now. Go out there and get your experiences. Learn how to walk that punani. They don't tell you when to go, when it's okay, when men are all right. They don't tell you, oh, well, you know what now? Look for a man with such and such and such. Because first they say stay away from them altogether. But they never, ever take the time to harness. That was the word I wanted. Harness their, it didn't start with a C. It was almost like cultivate. It was harness. That's what I meant. Not cyclone. It was harness. Started with an H, right?
Yeah.
But they never tell you, okay, well now, now look for a man who has this. Look for a man who has that. It's like they go from telling you to be virginal, and then the next thing they start talking about is, we're the grandkids. Why ain't you married? Where's your man? Why can't you keep a man? Am I lying?
It's seriously dysfunctional.
Am I lying? I want to know. Am I lying? I want to know, because when is the time that they're saying, well, now let's look for a good man for you. Let me talk to some of my friends and see if there's a good man I can hook you up with. They don't do that. They just go from keep your legs closed to how come I don't have grandchildren? And you're like, wait a minute, there's a huge step in between. Well, now I'm afraid of men. I hate men. I've been abused by men. I've been used and abused, or I never went out there and tried. I'm a virgin, Ma. You asking where the grandchildren at? And they're like, you still a virgin? And you like, the fuck?
Yeah. It's so crazy. It really is crazy.
You like, wait, I never knew that it was okay to lose my virginity. What you talking about? They like, where's your, they're like, how come you don't have no date to the homecoming? And you like, you done told me to stay away from boys and men. They like, you ain't married yet now? And you like, no. How do you go from staying away from these people to now knowing what to look for in these people that you told me were the devil? So were they not the devil? Are they not the devil? Am I not a whore anymore? So it's like, when is that time frame? Because they expect for you to go from being afraid of these people to now knowing how to use your feminine energy, how to use your femininity in that realm.
Yeah. And I also wonder, because the other thing that I find just not right, a lot of young women, like we talked about, there is definitely this community of men that I would call pedophiles. Men, like when a lot of the people in the comments were, saying they were 9 and 10 when men start, looking at them in an interested way.
Mm-hmm.
Like me, I was 9 and it was an adult man.
Mm-hmm.
But we know, and our families knew and understood that that's the kind of society that they were sending us out into, but still gave no guidance, even knowing, not even knowing that that's what we're going out to. And it's like, I feel like young girls just shouldn't be unescorted. Just period. Like, they should not be unescorted. They should be taught how to defend themselves in some sort of way. But like, young girls, like, they should be taught to understand, like, if you're going to be out going somewhere, you should not be walking alone and stuff, because there are people who just are predatory, you know, and like for me, I didn't have a whole lot of structure growing up. My mom kind of caught me, and she did what she could. Like, I'm sure that's what she thought. Based on her upbringing, she was helping me, and preserving me and keeping me from getting hurt in some type of way. But I ended up getting pregnant when I was 19, and it was like, she was really upset about it, and she kind of like disowned me from the family and whatnot. Like, I wasn't accepted to come to family gatherings and whatnot. So it's kind of just, it's like the support and the actual raising of the young, at least for my experience, it wasn't there. Like the structure was like I kind of almost had to raise myself, and I got as much as I could from what my mom tried to give me, but I really had to figure things out on my own, and
Yes.
I don't think that's that's not good for young women in this type of society that we in America, you know.
Yes, absolutely. Exactly. So that's the issue right there. That's the issue right there. You know, it's like we are never we're groomed to be wives and mothers, but we're not taught how to date. We're not taught how to go out there and navigate in the life in a world with real men. And with the way that men are out there, we're not taught by our matriarchs how to navigate in a real life world, how to come into our own, our sexuality. We're not taught. We're taught to go from being virgins to being wives. And then we get all of this instruction from other women about how we're supposed to be wives, but we haven't even learned how to be ourselves. What type of wife are you going to be? What type of mother are you going to be? You don't know yourself. We're not taught to come into our own. We're not taught to learn who it is that we are. We're just taught to stay away from men and then marry one.
Yeah.
All right. You know what? I'm going to let you get off the phone. Thank you so much for calling in. We appreciate your input.
Thank you, Tonya. Love you.
Love you too, Ma. Thank you. All right. You know what? I'm going to close the phone lines because we've been on for 4 hours and I need to eat. And I need to get ready because I have a lot of stuff coming up soon that I have to do. And so, as you know, I'm traveling, so there's a lot of things that I have to do. And I'm happy that we had a chance to come out here and have this conversation. I feel like there's a lot more that needs to be discussed and talked about. Thank you, Steve, for the $5 on CashApp. Thank you. I feel like there's a lot, because you're right. We're taught to be good girls. We're taught to never give it up, and then we're taught that we're supposed to just automatically know all of the very things that we need to do. So listen, I appreciate all of you coming out. You have given me a lot of excellent food for thought. So listen, the people who are the paid monthly subscribers, I am doing a quick limited run on the vitamin E tonight because I have a few packages left that I need to sell before I go traveling again. So if you are one of my monthly subscribers, then you will get an email from me with the offer for the vitamin E packs for tonight. Other than that, you know, I only sell them in the spring once a year. And I just so happen to have a few packs left over that I'm going to sell to the people who have supported me, you know, who is supporting me right now. So listen, I appreciate all of you who have come out, and I love each and every one of you. Thank you so much. Thank you. I don't know if we'll get a chance to broadcast again before I start traveling, but you know, when I travel for a few days at a time. And so, you know, I live off of the grid, so there's a lot of things that I need to do to get my trailer up and ready to be able to get back on the road again, all of that. So thank you all. Thank you. And I will, I'll see you all in the next video. Hold on, I need to delete something. Okay. Thank you all. Thank you all for coming out. Let me give my shout out. Thank you, Leisha, for the $20. She says, thanks for the live. It made me really think. So thank you so much. I appreciate that. If my videos mean something to you, if you gain something from the videos, if you enjoy coming live with me, because we do go hard. We've been on for 4 hours today. And if I could sum up before we jump out of this video, go ahead and thumbs up the video. And if I could sum up, I'll say this, right? If I could sum up, I'll say this. There are a lot more conversations that need to be had. And women, we really need to start honing our feminine energy, our feminine power. For far too long, we have been kept under the critique, the criticism, the guise, the contortion of men, of males. And we've got to, I don't know how to put it. We've got to learn to hone our own power, harvest it. We've got to learn to be okay in our own skin. We've got to learn to look at ourselves in the nude and love our bodies and appreciate the skin that we're in. We've got to learn that, you know, that hip movements and these other things, that they're not dirty, they're not bad. They just are what they are. You know, it's like, we've got to stop letting ourselves, because in all actuality, right? And there are a lot of women who don't understand this, and I don't expect every woman to understand this, right? But there are a lot of us who live in the prison of the male gaze. So that when we have young girls dancing, we get upset, we get aggravated, we get angry, because of the prison that we live in of the male gaze, that we're like, don't do that, because there are men that are going to be watching. Like most of the people who are upset with this movie Cuties, they're upset with it because of sick men out there. Imagine that. We are upset with the girls. We're upset with Netflix. We're upset with the parents. We're upset with all of these things. We're upset with all of these things because there are sick men out there. But we're not upset with the sick men. It doesn't really make any sense how we absolve men of the culpability and responsibility of the honing of their own, the toxic parts of their sexuality that is used to victimize people. You know what I mean? Because if there were no, like, let's say this film was released in a room full of women. Let's say that this film was released at a film festival where there were nothing but women, and would never get outside of that room. You wouldn't see the same anger. You wouldn't see the same angst. You wouldn't see the same anxiety and the same aggression. It's like we have these aggressions and we have this angst and anxiety because of the male gaze. And so we're like, no, little girls, you don't need to do that, because there are men out there who are watching, right? Because there's something in us that feels that we cannot control men. We can't even expect them to control themselves. So we just let them do whatever and run rampant, and we try to police, and we try to cover, we try to control, we try to contort female sexuality, female sensuality. And we criticize ourselves, and we talk about all of these other things that, so people are saying, okay, so if there were a father around, we need men to control female sexuality. The hell? Listen, we need men around to control female sexuality. How? Through violence? Through violence towards that girl? Because if there's a father around, how is the father being around going to control the female sexuality? By beating her with violence? And it's like, so that's the way that we're going to control. That's the way that we're going to harvest. That's the way that we're going to raise up, by beating down. We're going to teach a girl that her body is precious by beating down on it, by whipping down on it, by hollering at her. So for far too long, female sexuality has been controlled by male violence. Listen to what it is that I'm saying and tell me whether or not I'm right or wrong. I want to know your point of view. Leave your comments below. So thank you everybody for coming out. I appreciate all of you, each and every one of you. And just look, go out there and love one another. But most importantly, love yourself. And part of loving yourself is having these difficult conversations. Questioning, sorry, my stomach is empty. Questioning how you've thought about things before. And so somebody's saying father doesn't equal violence or male violence. I want to know, how does a male control female sexuality? And we already know how he does it. we already know how he does it. We know why we want him to come in and how we want him to come in to exert that control. Part of loving yourself is questioning how things have been done before in the past. Because you see, what ends up happening, this is what's happening. Exactly. By giving her, you cannot give a person self-esteem, but you can create an environment in which a person's esteem can flourish. Right? A father is male. Point blank. A father is male. So listen, esteem flourishes in an environment that supports that young woman, that young man, right? So there was something that I wanted to say. Loving yourself is questioning the ways that you may have thought about things before, right? Listen, men are needed in the household. However, we have got to start creating a space for different types of discipline for female sexuality, because male sexuality is not disciplined with violence. Male sexuality is encouraged. Female sexuality is discouraged with violence. And we've all seen the videos. I've never once seen a video of a boy being whipped by his parents for being sexual. Never once. Never once have I seen a video of a boy being whipped for being sexual. But female sexuality is controlled with violence, right? Either by taking or by forcing to stay untook. So listen, what ends up happening is we put ourselves in a position, right? We put ourselves in a position where we reward women who are not sexual, right? So we do not see our mothers being sexual. So listen. So see, I'm gonna end the video with saying this, right? I'm gonna end the video with saying this, right? Part of the reason why there are so many women, girls, boys out there who hate themselves is because our parents pretend as if they're not sexual. And when a younger person starts feeling these sexual feelings, they feel like they are an aberration. Our parents pretend like they're not sexual. Then when we start feeling sexual, we feel like an aberration. We feel like we are abnormal. We feel like we are betraying because we feel sexual and we feel sexually. We feel like we're betraying some sacred pact that our parents had because we don't view our parents as sexual, because they purposefully hide their sexuality from us. They hide the fact that they are sexual beings so that we feel abnormal when we feel sexuality, right? So what ends up happening is we have this distorted view of who deserves respect. So my mother is non-sexual. So my mother deserves respect because she's a non-sexual woman. We control the sex and sexuality of my sisters and the females in my family. So these women deserve respect. They deserve protection because they are non-sexual. However, the women who are sexual, the women who express their sexuality, they deserve violence. They deserve to be abused. They deserve for my penis to be used as a weapon against them. They deserve to be withheld from protection and provision and love. If you want to talk about the wall, right? If you want to talk about the wall, let's talk about the wall real quick, right? Part of what the wall is saying, with the people who believe in this wall, is I, as a man who don't know you, who has no vested interest in you, who I'm just a motherfucker out here. I'm just some nigga, whatever you want to say. I'm just some dude out here, right? I don't know you. I don't necessarily even want you, and I don't know whether or not you want me. But you deserve to be punished by having love and commitment and marriage and a healthy family withheld from you because you exercised your choice. You chose to do with your youth as you chose. So now I feel, as a person on the outside, I feel that you deserve to have love withheld from you. You deserve not to be protected. You deserve for nobody to see any value in you because you express your choice, right? You express your choice. You express your choice as a human being. So it's like we are socializing girls to go from always being somebody else's property. You go from being a child and the property of your parents, where they feel that it's in the Black community, far too many parents feel that they could touch their daughters' bodies and however the hell they want to, that they could beat their daughters' bodies, that they could slap their daughters' faces, that they can whip their daughters and do with their daughters' bodies as they choose, because they feel that they own their children's bodies, right? So you go from your parents feeling like they own you, socializing you, that you are going to then be owned by some man of the future, some man you haven't met yet that we don't know, some unknown mystery man out there who is lording over your body from the time that you are 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years old. Some man out there that you don't know and you've never seen, you haven't even met yet, is already lording over your mother effing virginity, your vagina, your body, your cooking skills, your being. Some man out there you don't know, right? So you go from being your parents' property, from being someone's student, then to being someone's wife, then to being someone's mother, never once coming into yourself as a woman. This is the typical socialization of a girl. But if you, bitch, you exercise your choice, bitch, then you deserve to be loveless. You deserve to be left. You deserve to have protection and provision withheld from you because you exercised your choice and didn't follow the conveyor belt of ownership that men have set in place for you. So now we're going to talk about these walls. Oh, you've hit the wall. Well, my wall ain't your fucking problem, is it though, son? Is my wall your problem? Okay. And it's like they don't really understand that, listen, okay, as I get older, so do men. If I'm 50, there's a man out there who's 65. If I'm 65, there's a man out there who's 70. I'm always younger than somebody, but that's not the point. The point is for you to learn your place. Your place is in the conveyor belt of men's desires. So that whatever it is that we say should happen to your body, your being, that you're not given the space. They're already trying to tell people that they're old at 24. You've hit the wall at 24, nigga, really? And then if she has, then okay, if you don't want her, then why try to revel in the glee of somebody else's quote unquote misery? If you don't want her, why are you spending so much time obsessed? Why are you spending so much time obsessed over what it is that she's doing, where it is that she's at, what it is that she's choosing for her life? It's like you don't have the space, you don't have the capacity to go out there and learn who it is that you want. They don't want you to do that. They love the benefits of a woman who has done that, but they don't want you to do that. And then they criticize you for not knowing yourself, so that you're 10 years into a relationship where you realize, this isn't me. This isn't me. I feel trapped in this life. When you get to know, it's like they don't understand. Okay, so you pluck a girl off the tree at 18. By the time she's 28, she ain't the same person. Now she's 10 years in, and she can't stomach you. She can't stand the freaking sight of you when you breathe in. She wants to wrap your neck in chicken wire. And it's like, it's better for society as a whole when we allow women to come into their own. When we stop lording over, imprisoning women. it benefits society as a whole. You know, it benefits society as a whole. So that we have doctors, even to this day, with all of the technological advancements that we have, calling a woman who gets pregnant over 35 a geriatric pregnancy. So what time frame did you have to really have a child? You have a 10-year span. You get out of college at 21, and then you have a span from 21 to 30, 21 to 31, to have preferably, so it's like they criticize you have a child at 19. They criticize you when you have a child at 35. So when was the time that you really ever had? When did you have? When did you have the time to be yourself? It's like, because you are the keeper of the womb, people are going to try to control you. Because you are the keeper of the womb. Listen, on that note, I'm going to bid you all adieu. I know we kind of ended on a somber note. So listen, I'm going to give you all a hug. I want to hear your comments below. I love you all very much. Go out there and love one another. And most importantly, love yourself. Get yourself. Oh, Lord, they put the bright orange letters on your file that said geriatric pregnancy. See what I'm saying? Listen, this is my book, The Book of Affirmation, Self-Love. It's a beautiful, wonderful, powerful book that helps you rewrite your subconscious programming. It's available on Amazon. Just search for the words Tonya TKO and self-love on Amazon. Read the reviews and what this has done to people's lives. It is a petite book. It's not going to take you long to go through the book, but it's powerful. I'm a certified clinical hypnotherapist, and this book helps you rewrite your subconscious programming. I use just enough in here to be able to help you do the things that you needed to do and nothing more. This isn't a book that you have to sit down and for years be writing through. Nope. This is a book you sit down and you go through it. You write them over and over. It still takes you a few months to go through it, but this is not one of those leisurely, I'll just do. No, go through it. Do them each night. And the most powerful affirmations that I use to help me get out of living in my car and live a life abundantly to the fullest, to the fullest power. This book right here, this book. So listen, this is called The Book of Affirmation Self-Love, available on Amazon. The links are below inside of the description of the video. Thank you to all of the people who are my monthly financial subscribers and support. You can go to TonyaTKO.com, click on TonyaTKO.com, click on support, and the tab is right here to become a monthly supporter. You get a special phone number to call in so that you're always able to get through on live broadcast. But I think I'm going to change it around. I think what we're going to do is, for the people who are the platinum subscribers, you can text me and then I'll call you back so we can make sure that you get your call on the air. So that way you're not competing with calls that are coming in. All right. So listen to the people who talk about the power of that book. It's an amazing book. So listen, I love you all. I'll see you all later. Give me a hug. And I'll see you all on the other side. Peace.